Hello, everyone. While everyone's filing in, looking forward to seeing you all today, and I'm so glad you were able to join. My name is Laura, and we've got Mohak here with us today. We're going to be talking about Pinterest. So for those of you that have been on these calls before, you know the drill. If you can go ahead and find the chat box, and if you can let us know where you're calling in from, let us know what number event this is for you, whether this is your first TNN event or your 100th. We're so happy to have you here. So jot that down in the chat box. And then if you could also let us know if you are currently using Pinterest as a travel creator, we would just love to kind of gauge the sense of where everyone is with that. So again, my name is Laura. I am one of the San Diego chapter leaders and one of the TNN virtual event hosts. I have been to probably over 100 events. And I'm not going to lie, I am a very novice Pinterest user. I have an account that have not done anything with it. So I'm really excited to hear Mohak's wisdom today. So before we get started, I am going to go ahead and share my screen and we'll get started. Just 1 second. Actually, Mohak, you're not sharing your screen anymore, are you?
No, I'm not.
Yeah, it shows. Okay, hold on. Technical difficulties. It shows I'm not able to. So one moment, everyone. If not, I can just walk you through. All right, it's not working for me, but I'm just going to give a quick update on everything. I can talk it through. So for those of you that are new, the Nomadic Network is a global community of like-minded travel enthusiasts who have come together to learn and inspire each other to travel better, cheaper, and longer. So for those of you that don't know, we launched at the end of 2019 with the hopes of having in-person meetups in 22 different cities around the world. We had a couple of those, but unfortunately, as we know, the pandemic hit. And so we brought a lot of those in virtually. And by pivoting to that, we've actually been able to bring a lot of wonderful different types of events to all of you. So we currently offer 3 different types. We have travel presentation style events, such as the one we're having today, where we invite a speaker to present on a variety of different topics. And then we have regional happy hours, which are a little bit more informal. Everyone's off mute, and it's just a great way to connect with those in our own communities. And then we have monthly book clubs where we invite a speaker to come and talk to us about his or her book. So those are wonderful ways to get up close with a speaker as well. And then a couple things to keep in mind for today. If you are comfortable turning your cameras on, I see a couple of you, that's awesome. We love to see your faces. I will keep everyone muted for the duration of the call, just so we make sure we can hear the speaker. And then use that chat box though. I know you guys have already been using that, so that's perfect, but this is a great way to just connect with each other, ask your questions, share any experiences or tips. And when you do ask your question, if you wouldn't mind just writing the word question first, then write it out, and that way I can keep track. And when we're done with the presentation, I'll make sure we get those all answered. Please know that the speakers do this out of the kindness of their heart. Mohak, we are so appreciative to him giving us his time, sharing with us his wisdom and insight. And so we are super excited to have him here with us. And then if you aren't familiar, we have a membership program, which is called the Nomadic Nat Plus community. And this is a great way to get all of our event replays. So you'll get the one for today and then any of the other ones that are upcoming. So I'll talk more about that at the end of the call as well. And if you haven't followed us already, please head on over to Instagram to follow the Nomadic Network. This is where we post all of our events and anything related to the community. So that is all on my end. I am so excited now to introduce Mohak. So he is one of the first members of the Pinterest Creators Product Team, and he's here today to teach us about Pinterest and basically how to grow our audience and reach and how to ultimately be successful with it. So Mohak, I'll let you take it over from here.
Thank you so much, Laura, and thanks for the wonderful introduction. Nice to meet everyone, and thanks for coming to this event. As Laura said, I joined Pinterest early on, was there for a long time working on, the creators product and building up a lot of foundations so travel creators and other creators can be successful on Pinterest. Right now, I'm the founder of a travel tech company called Atlas. We make it easy to get visas and other stuff. So if you're traveling anywhere, do use it. So I'm going to start with the presentation, but this is going to be a collaborative session. And I want to, so if, as I walk through the things, you can unmute yourself or post on the chat. If you want me to look at your Pinterest accounts in front of everyone, screen share, figure out what's wrong, we can do it with a couple of folks. But my hope is that a lot of you on the chat said you don't use Pinterest or you haven't used Pinterest much, but by the end of this session, you'll have a few action items that you can take home and get started on Pinterest. The good news is that just some overall context that Pinterest as a whole, their number one priority as the whole company now is actually making creators successful. So there hasn't been a better time ever to create content because it's just a rising wave, and you're just gonna succeed by just creating good content and not doing a lot more, especially because there isn't as much competition as Instagram. So without much ado, let me start. Okay, I'm sharing my screen. Can you all see it? Is it visible? Let me also open up the chat. Great. Cool. So, I mean, building an audience on Pinterest, first of all, not an official spokesperson. So anything I say is just based on my experience and intuition and not the official statement. So don't quote me. Great. So I'm just going to jump straight to the basics. I'm sure like a lot of you have accounts, but if you don't have an account, make a business account. But I'm going to just walk through some basics that when you do that. So a big part of succeeding and building an audience is actually just doing the basics right. That gets you 25% of the way. What I mean is that, first of all, have an account as a business or creator. So if you have a personal account, you can go to settings and convert it to a business or a creator account. What that means is that Pinterest prioritizes your profile. It shows it to different people. You can add a bio, you can add other information, a link to your website. And your users can navigate your content and your actual content, like the ones that you create on your blog or Instagram, much more effectively. So that if anyone has questions, ping, but that's just the basics. The second thing is verified domain. Now, this is very important. What that basically means is that you want, like, if you have a blog, for example, for Laura, travel80by80.com, and she publishes a lot of amazing content. If she doesn't verify it, then a few things happen, and I'm going to just go to the next slide. So what this does is that if you see, like, this was a pin from alphafoodie.com, but you see that her profile is here, the follow button is here, right? And that is because she verified this domain. If you don't, then none of this appears. So you lose followers. Secondly, what happens is that a lot of content stealing happens when you don't verify your domain, because she is someone like Laura writes an amazing content on her trip, and then a spammer, or there are many such spammers who are looking for such content, goes and pins her content, is the first one to bring that content to the Pinterest ecosystem. What will happen is that Pinterest will think that that person, that spammer, is the one who wrote the content because he was the one who brought it to who was the first one who pinned it. So by verifying your domain, you avoid all these things. It's like no matter who pins your content, no matter who links to your content, it's always attributed to you. It's super easy on WordPress or Squarespace. There's like a direct way to do it. If you're working with, if someone manages your website, you can just go on settings, verify domain, and then send them an email or click a button to send them an email. And it's very easy. And it's a standard practice across all platforms, but you should definitely do it. It's a small check mark, if I'm not wrong, next to your domain. So you should definitely do it. Helpful bio. Now, this is just standard, but the reason I say it is that sometimes, like, at the end of the day, you're like, if you want to build an audience on Pinterest or anywhere else on social media, you want to tell your users and your fans what you're about, right? Are you a travel creator? And if there's something niche, right? So that they can relate to you. You know, they saw your website, they saw your profile, but you want them to relate to you. And that is like really important. And I know some people try to promote things on their bio, and I think that's fine once you reach a certain level. But initially, I would just advise people to have like a clear, concise bio about themselves. And finally, this is again a hidden secret: connect social accounts. So you can go on settings and claim your Instagram if you have an Etsy. I talked about the domain, which is website, your YouTube, and that's the same thing. If you post content on Instagram, you can just pin it. And then when you pin it after claiming your Instagram, all these attributions will come. If someone else pins it from your Instagram, all these attributions will come. So essentially, by claiming your profiles across the social landscape, you're never losing attribution. You're always getting credit for the content that you created. And these are very easy things to do, but most people don't do it. So like this is, this is something like I definitely suggest. The basics are: have a business profile. I mean, I think they call it business or creator profile, business profile. Second is verified website, helpful bio. And fourth is connect your social accounts. Even if you don't post on Instagram right now, you should just connect it because it takes 30 seconds. And if you end up posting it, it's always good to be connected. And then the best part is once you claim it, everything that you post on Instagram, you can just always like pin it on Pinterest. Super easy. Any questions here? Oh, some people have already started doing it. Great. Any more questions before I move to the next session? This is all about foundations. Or if anyone has, some basic things: have a good profile picture, have, you want to make like your profile is your home, and you want to make the user or the pinner feel welcome. Bonus for those who sell and have a Shopify store, definitely do that, because it helps with a lot of other stuff. By the way, if you do like sell products, and I don't know if all of you do, Pinterest also gives creators, and once you have a business account, like a lot of ad credits. So you could just get a lot of free ads and a lot of free help. But for them to do all of that, they need to know that you're a business or a creator. If you have a personal profile, they have no way of knowing it. Like Instagram, you can have different profiles on the app. So if you've been using Pinterest for 6 years and have 8,000 pins and it's just your personal stuff, I suggest making a new profile, because ultimately your profile is for your fans and people you want to like you, not for yourself, right? Your creator profile at least. So I always suggest that. Question. So Pinterest is the visual of Google search. I think it's a bit different, because the way Pinterest works is it's a pin and board graph. And what that means is that Google search or Google images, you search something and they would show you excellent results. On Pinterest, because people are pinning stuff to boards like Dream Vacations or Greece Travels, it learns about people, and then it is able to recommend you. So a lot of people just spend time on the home feed where they just scroll endlessly and they're not searching anything actively. So, and I'll jump on that. And then the thing to remember on Pinterest is it's a lot like Instagram, where you're inspiring people to plan their vacation. You're inspiring people to go somewhere. You're not, it's not as action oriented as a Google ad. You're not targeting like $400 flight to Greece. It's more like, oh, what's amazing about Mykonos? What's amazing about Santorini? Any more questions? Yes. So again, once you connect your accounts, always pin whatever content you create on your blog on Instagram to Pinterest. It's super easy. You can do it on your phone, but it just helps avoid misattribution, content stealing, and so many things. And it's just so easy. You already put in the hard work. So at least, and it just helps with distribution. It's like if you post on Instagram and it gets to a certain audience, but if you post on Pinterest, it can potentially get to more people. So the next thing is creating content. Now, creating content. So one question was, do you pin all your blog posts on your Pinterest content? So this, I'll cover this right now, actually. So, I mean, first and foremost, if the days of pinning are over, so earlier for the longest time, it was that you write blogs and you write amazing content and pin that. And if you do that, it's still a good practice and you can continue to do so, but you will not be able to build a flourishing audience or, have millions of followers on Pinterest or monetize even. So you should, to answer Carla's question, yeah, every time you post a blog, you should just definitely like pin it and into a relevant board. So don't just have a board called blog and just be like, oh, Greece, France, Australia, or summer travels. But really, like, that content alone will not get you anywhere, in the sense that it may help you get some users, some followers, and some pins and some traffic, but that's not what Pinterest as a whole is prioritizing. Pinterest as a whole is prioritizing unique content that you're building just for the Pinterest audience that is not available anywhere else. And so here's the number one trick that you can all do today, and after doing the foundations, and get to, if you do this every day of the month, you'll get to, I would estimate, like about 100,000 monthly views in less than a month. The number one trick is create idea pins. So what idea pins is this new inspirational format. They also call it a story pin sometimes. You just have to tap on the plus button. So it's only available to business and creator accounts, yet another reason to have the right account. You tap the plus button and it says idea pin, and then it's basically a more immersive format that's way better for pinners. For example, if you're a travel creator, right? And I can show you some idea pins that we've built. Oops. So we have done a few. Let me show you, and they're not even amazing, but cool. Can you all see my Pinterest account? Great. So it's like they're more immersive and more actionable and inspirational, like how to save money while traveling. So it has multiple pages, and this is not even like a good pin that we made. And you can see like 11,000 impressions, 150 clicks, and it's just not even a good pin. Like you all can make a lot better content than I can. But the whole point is, you see all of these pins are idea pins, and they have, the minimum is like 7,000 impressions. And then sometimes some of them do a lot better, like best places to visit in May, and these are all more actionable than just a pin. And then what Pinterest wants is that this is unique content just for Pinterest. People are not clicking in and going anywhere else. People don't have to like go back to Google and figure things out. So this is I think the trick number one, like create idea pins. So coming to questions. So can you explain the basics? Once I open an account, what is the first thing to do? Create a board. How do I do that? I mean, I think all you have to do is just create a pin, and then once you create a pin or save something, it'll ask you to save to a board, and you can name your board. So you don't have to create an empty board. When we share from Instagram to Pinterest, are you just clicking on the photo and clicking share to Pinterest? Yes, that is correct. No, not really. Better engagement. How much content in idea pin besides code? So that's a great question. My idea pins are not great examples. It should be a lot more immersive. So I'm trying to find some content with you all right now and see if we can find it. But let's see. I cannot find a good idea pin right now, but I'll share some. But to answer your question, how much content, it's like it should be inspirational and actionable. So the way to think about it is that if you want to make a recipe, right? How can you make an experience for someone that they can literally follow that step by step and look at videos and do it, right? So it's like, oh, this is how you make sourdough bread at home. Step 1, step 2, and then they're able to follow like these mini videos right? Same with travel. If you're making and know the objective. If your objective is to inspire people, then you show the best of, like, all the best photos that you took from at a place. If your objective is to help people plan once they're going somewhere, then give concrete advice, like, okay, if you're going to traveling to France, these are the attractions you should do day 1, day 2, day 3, and they can be as long or as short. But I always suggest like at least 6 to 7 pages, something that's helpful to the user and something that's aesthetically pleasing. If you do this, and again, like there's just a lot of things to figure out, but you can just be creative and try like 10 different things and 10 different styles with different number of pages, different types of content, and see what works. And usually you'll be able to come up with a playbook that your fans and your followers and work, and that just honestly works for your account best. So I always always try to suggest that. I have a business creator account, but I don't think I have a Pinterest ad credit. How do I get it? So if you don't have it, then go to ads.pinterest and see if you can get it. If you don't get it, then maybe you're not eligible right now. But yeah, that's something that I don't know. Why don't you see it? What about one-page infographic on IdeaPin? No, the whole point of IdeaPin is not to, like if you create an idea pin, but that's just a normal pin, but a one-page, a normal pin, but in the IdeaPin format, it wouldn't work, because like the system knows when you're putting in the effort. What the system wants to do is that it wants to promote high quality content that users can't find elsewhere on the internet. And it knows that it's high quality when people put in a lot of effort to build that content. If you are just, if you have infographics elsewhere and you're just posting them as idea pins, the system will know that it's, from all these other places, and it's not, the creator hasn't spent enough time on it. So yeah, like that's another trick. Like all these systems prioritize the hard work you put in. So if you're able to like put in 20-30 minutes on each idea pin, like the system will learn that this creator is putting a lot of effort. I should show this content. Internally, if you're curious, what happens is when you post an idea pin, there's a budget. The algorithm has a budget called exploration. So initially, as soon as you post it, the first day, it will just explore and it will show your content to a few hundred people, and just see how people react to it. If it's really, really engaging, which I hope it is, then it'll learn immediately that, okay, like this is something that's amazing. I have to show it to 10,000 people. Then 10,000 people will engage it. Then I have to show it to 100,000 people. So that's how it works. And then so idea pin is multiple pages. Yes, it is. And that's a good summary. It's a mix of IG stories and guides, except it's not ephemeral. So it doesn't disappear in 24 hours. Do static pictures or video perform better with idea pins? Great question. So in my experience, whatever is most relevant to your audience, in some cases, static pictures are better, but videos perform way better. It's like your whole purpose is to create engaging content. Now, what is engaging is videos in general, right? Like videos in general are like really engaging. Like if you have TikTok and you just cross post your TikToks, they're going to go viral on Pinterest because they're just highly engaging videos. Yes, Laura, I will definitely do that. So I'm going to just play this video. I don't know if sound will come, but this explains idea pins better than I can. So I thought, why not? Oops, I don't know how to do this. Let's see. Great. So, so that conveyed, that's like what they want. Let me see. Let's see, cross post TikToks. That's like, don't quote me on that, but TikTok, like the reason behind that is not that it's like you're just cross posting TikToks, is that those TikToks in general inherently are just so engaging. It's like a 5-second video, and that its purpose is to capture someone attention in like 5 seconds. So, and that's with any platform. You're at the end of the day, you're competing for attention, right? There's limited attention span that people have. And how is it that across 1,000 things that they see on Pinterest, they tap on yours and engage with your content if it's just super engaging? By the way, like the thing is, if you consistently create idea pins, and again, don't quote me on that, and create really high quality, unique idea pins and focus on Pinterest, you can get really big in a really short amount of time. Like we have had creators who've gone from 0 to tens of millions of viewers, millions of followers, and a lot of partnerships. And then Pinterest will work directly with you to help you monetize. So I know it's not the ideal case, but I don't think too much on the monetization side, but don't worry about it, because once you reach a certain level, you'll be able to tag products, you'll be able to get sponsored content, you'll be able to do all of those things once you reach a certain size of following. So how to succeed? Create consistently. The algorithm rewards consistency. Is just you want to create content, and I wouldn't say it's like every day, but at least it depends on how much effort you're putting into the content. If you're putting in hours, then maybe like once a week is great. If initially, I would say twice or thrice a week, because you can reuse a lot of the photos and like content that you already have from your past travels, right? Like the good thing for this audience is that travel is evergreen. So if you went and if you have photos and videos of a trip from like 3 years ago, you can still make a lot of idea pins from that trip right now, and it's evergreen. And then just start by creating more content, but also don't create all your content in one day. Like the algorithm also sees frequency. So if you just create all your content in one day, it is likely that they may also just flag you for spam. Even if they don't do it, they'll be like, okay, like, we'll just pick one random pin and make it famous, but not the others one. So you want to do that. Do you have someone to follow that has ideal idea pins? I actually do. I should look at it as so CB2. So if you all download the Pinterest app, and if you have it, the top thing on your personal account should just show you idea pins, like these bubbles. So these are all idea pins that you should naturally see, and all of them are really good idea pins. That's why they're at the top. And that's the other thing, by the way. You can, if you do a great job, and like this is like how to succeed, you can get to the top of Pinterest and be the first thing that 400 million people see every day. So that's on consistency. The second thing is make it actionable and inspirational. That is a must. I mean, that's any social platform would say it. And then that's what the algorithms are like looking at it. It's like, if you're able to make something that's inspirational and actionable, that's great. But the third thing is, you can also seed the actionable component. If you're making a pin around recipe, or if you're making a pin around travel hacks, just ask your own friends to like try them out, and then post tries and comments, like post them like doing things as comments. If you are making a recipe, then you can ask your friends to try them and then post them as tries, because what that does, it just seeds engagement. It's like, if I'm a user and I see that this is a great travel hack on how to pack your bags effectively, the first thing I'm looking for is social proof. Like, oh, have other people done it? Because this sounds too good to be true. And then if I see like, oh, there are 2 or 3 other people who have commented with photos or videos, or like, with questions, I'm instantly interested as a user, or as a follower, that, hey, like, maybe I can do this because other people have done it. Or even Pinterest fails, you want to create conversations. So you want to be able to do that. this is again not officially recommended, but sometimes cross-posting your content on group boards help, because at the end of the day, some group boards have 50 or 70 or 100 pinners pinning actively to them. So when you join a group board and pin your content there, then it just sends a notification to 100 people. And then those 100 people, one of them might repin it, and then that will reach like more people. So think of it as a pin and board graph. And the more nodes and more area that your content can cover in the graph, the more distribution you will get. I touched upon this, like initially as you're getting started, you can take content from your Instagram stories, YouTube videos, and just stitch together an idea pin, right? Like you'll probably have like amazing videos from a vacation. Just make a few idea pins, get started. And as you get started, you're going to start seeing like a lot of growth, and that should keep you going. Most pinners use Pinterest on mobile at any given point. Even as a lot of you said that you're active pinners, you see 4 to 6 pins on a grid. You have to stand out and get them to click. And the whole point here is this focus on making an engaging cover for your idea pin. So like if you think about it, these are 2 of the pins that we made. This is 7,000 impressions. This is 20, but this has 7 repins. This has 57 repins. It still gets tens of thousands of impressions every week. And the reason is that you can just see, like, I think the pin on the left was a video and way better, in my opinion, and way more helpful. But the pin on the right just had such an amazing cover that people were just inspired and just curious to learn more. So like focus, like people say a book is not judged by its cover, but in this world it is, because you're competing against several covers. Think about when you go to a bookstore, like your eyes usually go to like books that have amazing covers. So like try to stand out. Your content will stand out, but for your content to stand out, you have to stand out and you have to grab someone's attention. So like if just focus on the best possible cover, and you can experiment here. You can try different things, see with video, see with photos, see what works, have people, without people, and different things work for different people. But really, like, you should spend some time on it. And then, by the way, with idea pins, they have a lot of filters, typography, and everything. So you don't have to like use any other editor. Like you just take out a photo, you can put music, you can have typography, you can do all those things that you could do on Instagram stories. So you don't need another tool to aesthetically design these pins. Trends. Now, the other thing that is easy to get big on Pinterest is just plugging your content into current events and news cycles and create trending on it. Like, that is not to say create political content, because that will not work on Pinterest, but create content that's around an event, like, Super Bowl or July 4th, because they have this thing called Today tab, which millions of people use, which is just every day is updated by curated content. And if you're consistently do it, you're gonna start getting lucky, and they're gonna just email you that, hey, we have personally curated your content for Today tab, and then that day you're gonna get millions of people who see you and engage with your content. So it's like, it's summer going on, so they'll have like things like when all you want to eat are snacks, outdoor fire pit ideas, and it's so if you can find trends or like current events, always try to do those. And it's also helpful for your followers. Like ultimately, like it all comes down to like what's best for your followers, right? And if you can obsess over them, and if you can do what they want and what they would want and they would like, everything will fall in place. Measurement. So this is a semi-presentation, semi-workshop, but the first thing you should be tracking is followers. This is the number one thing to build a long-term audience, is like build following. And by the way, you build following by having all the foundation in place, creating content that's engaging. And at the end of it, like, you should try creative things. Like, I know some creator at the end of their videos and every idea pin, they have a video, and then they appeal to their fans like, hey, this is how you follow me. Go down, click on the follow button, why you should follow me. And that works. And sometimes people just naturally follow. So see what works for you. But like, if you're tracking a goal, if you're tracking, you start getting notification when people follow, and that's like the best signal that you're doing something right. If you're not getting followers, then maybe like you're getting tens of thousands of impressions, but they don't mean much if people are not following. When people follow, it's a very, very strong action. Now, not only is that good, it is excellent for your distribution, because what it signals to the system is that this content is so high quality that someone chose it over the 1,000 other pins that we showed them, tapped on it, engaged with it, and then followed. So that means that this content has to be really freaking amazing for someone to do that. So that is why if you look at all the successful Pinterest creators, they have a lot of followers, and then that's just a self-fulfilling cycle, right? Like, once you have 1 million followers, then anything that you create will first of all reach out to those 1 million people instantly. But the system would be like, okay, this has to be really good because so many people follow this creator. So track your followers very closely. The next big signal is saves, which is like how many people save your content. But as a creator, you should really be proud of yourself if you get saves, because you have inspired someone enough to engage with your content and even save it on, for example, a dream vacation board, or help them plan, and that should feel good because someone has literally used your content to do something, or to be inspired to do something in their real life, right? A lot of Pinterest is about making people do in real life. So we used to always say, be yourself, not your selfie. And that a lot of that is actually reflected in the system and the product that's been built. What is phenomenal save rate? If your save rate is 1% or more, what is a save rate? It's just basically number of saves divided by impressions. Pretty easy to calculate, because every content that you create, you have analytics for. So you can see if you have 100 saves and 10,000 impressions, that's amazing. Anything more than that is fantastic. But even if your save rate hovers around 0.2, 0.3%, that's average. That's fine. So like, this is, you can go on analytics.pinterest.com and look at your save rate. Mine is not that good, but it's getting better. How to increase odds of success. So I'm going to walk you through a live example of how we're going to play around. So this is basically audience insight. Once you have a business account, this is what you're going to see: business, create. So create idea pin, analytics, and ads if you want to promote. On analytics, you want to go to audience insights. And on audience insights, I'll show you, it's basically like, how do you know what content to create? So you want to click on compare, which is your account versus Pinterest user's account. And you want to go to your category. So mine is travel. So what affinity means is like pretty self-explanatory, but what it means is that how much more is your audience likely to engage with this category compared to rest of Pinterest? So an affinity of greater than 1 means that your audience is 1.6 times more likely to engage with travel than rest of Pinterest. And you can see like, my audience is not that interested in entertainment or parenting, and that's fine. And I'm not making content for parents. But the good thing is, when you tap on this, sort this out and see what is your, like, try to, like, the whole point is you can try to like really easily capture niche and then go from there. So for example, sort by affinity and ignore this. Like, sure, it's less than 1%, but even like less than 1% of 500 million people is a lot. My audience is 24 times more likely than the average Pinterest audience to engage in content related in Czech Republic, right? And I can tap on it and then see, right? So what that means is that if I create content that's Czech Republic, around Czech Republic, and all those things, it is very likely to resonate with my audience. And you want to do two things. One is always create and double down on what your audience loves, and then also like create content to get new audience. But the easier thing is always just double down on what people love. So, and don't worry about the percentage, because as I said, like Pinterest has 500 million users. 1% of 500 or 0.1% of 500 million is a lot. Like Iceland, right? 20x, and these are the things that I should be creating content on. Then what are the things I should not be creating content on? Oops, sorry. Let's see. So in some cases, it just doesn't have data. But if you see like, oh, like affinity is 1, or like, okay, Grand Canyon National Park, it's pretty good, 3 times as likely than anything else. But if I have to prioritize creating content, I would always just create content for all these other places where it's the affinity is really high. How to identify with what audience loves? So for that, it's a good question. So you would go to all Pinterest users. So you would not compare yourself. You would just see, like, go to travel and look at what are people liking, travel destinations, North America travel. Like, these are the things by audience. So there are 2 approaches. One is you can just create pins that have a lot of fans, like North America traveler, like a lot of audience, or you can just create content that have less people, but it's easier to capture, right? Like, for example, like creating a pin on Idaho, you'll probably be like 1 out of the 100 people versus creating a pin on Europe. Coming back to compare, you can also look at your age distribution. Sometimes it's really helpful, actually, because for me, it just signals like what type of, like, my audience is actually pretty young. So if I create content like the one that people love on TikTok and engaging, those things, like, that's what I should create. If your audience is on older side, you should create that. Male, female, pretty similar. Location, again, this is, to be honest, this is just resembles Pinterest. Like, where do they get most of their users in America? So it's like Los Angeles, New York, SF, Chicago. That's fine. Device. Again, this is a little out of your hands, so doesn't matter much. Cool. I know I went over a lot in this tool. If you have questions and I'm on this tool, post right away and I'll help address it. Cool. Let me go to the presentation. Oh, that was the last slide. Yeah, so my last slide is just my email. If you have any questions, and you can always email me. I can always help hop on a call to help you out. You can note it down. I think Laura and I are also going to send a small, like, 1-question survey. So you can put your email there and we'll contact you. Yes, so the type form is the best way to connect with me. But any more questions, and if you couldn't type it, maybe like turn off the audio and then just share what, if you have questions or if you have thoughts. Oh, wait, I can't find that tool. Where is that insights again? So you want to go to analytics.pinterest.com and select audience insights. So let me share again here. So analytics, and then go on audience insights. So you can also just go on analytics.pinterest.com. Pinterest 101 course. Good question. There are a lot on YouTube. I would say go on business.creators.com. They like the best way to like learn about a platform is from the people who build it. And they have a lot of amazing resources there, and they want, so you can go on this website. Let me here. They have one-on-one courses, 101 courses here. And there's a community also, so you can like ask people questions, ask the Pinterest folks questions directly. Who do you have you run ads before? I want to use ads. If Pinterest worth commit hygiene, I have. They're getting better. It depends on the vertical. The thing is, CPCs are a lot lower, and if you're on conversion ads, CPMs are a lot lower. So it's worth a try. Like I would definitely put in a few dollars and see if it works. Yeah, especially if you think that your audience engages in travel or in your category. Who do you follow with good idea pins? Actually, the website that I shared on chat has a lot of amazing idea pins, but success stories here. Should be no. Let me.
And Mohak, when you're after you're typing that in, we did have a couple other questions that I know you haven't answered that came through when you were presenting. So when you're done sharing that, I'll go ahead and ask you those questions too.
Yeah, so I just shared some links. Yeah, who do you follow with good idea pins is a great question. I actually have to see who has good idea pins.
And the other thing, if Mohak, if you don't have time to answer that particular one, when we send out this to everyone at the, we can always include that with the send out afterwards too. So that's not a problem.
Okay, that's great. So this is there are a lot of creators now. So I don't know who has best good idea pins, but there are so many that even if you go on your Pinterest, you'll find enough. Is it different for other countries or okay to get direction from the US side? Oh, that's okay to get direction from the US side. I think idea pins is everywhere, but if it's not, then so the best part is that the links that I shared, you can create an account and you can literally just go on the community and ask a question and those folks will respond to you. So you can reach out to the whole team there. What's the best way to start a following when you have none at the beginning is how you start a following for any platform. Just ask your friends to follow you. Post on your Instagram, post on your blog. Who do you follow on idea pins? Please be specific. Okay, let me find a good one here.
In the meantime, Mohak, while you're looking that up, we had a question come in from Caroline about using programs like Tailwind or Social Bee to post to Pinterest. What are your thoughts on that? And does it work, or does the Pinterest algorithm not really like it?
No, I mean, we work closely with Tailwind and it works, but at the end of the day, if you're just creating idea pins and if you're not, at the end of the day, what Pinterest really wants is it wants you to create unique content that's not elsewhere. So you can use them in conjunction with creating content and being active, but it's not something that would just solve all your Pinterest problems.
Okay, perfect. And then Kimberly had a question about she claimed my website on my account, but for some reason it's not showing as verified anymore. Do you know if it's an instant verification or what she should do about that?
It takes some time. It takes some time. And I'm sharing more creators, by the way, more idea pins on the profile. These are all amazing idea pins. and then you can click on. And by the way, if you think about it, these creators they already have paid partnerships and are making tens of thousands of dollars for their idea pins. And that's what I was saying, right? Like, you do a good job and Pinterest will work with you and all these brands will work with you to help you monetize and become much bigger. So you're gonna get to that tipping point and then you're just gonna, like, become really big in no time. And like the common theme in all of them is that in all of them, even as I'm sharing, I do want to, like, a part of me just wishes to, like, check the whole thing out. Actionable, inspirational, seeded with comments. They reply to their users. Their users are asking questions, or their followers, and if you go to their profiles consistently, like every day or every 2 days, they create content. So it's just like, that's the other way to think about it. Did I understand that 6-7? How long video? Yeah, I think it's like 15-20 second video per page or something like that. By the way, no need to cut your video. If you think that you have an amazing 2-minute video and that it's so good, no need to cut it just to fit in the idea pin format. You can also just post videos and they will also do really well. But idea pins just helps you break down, a trip or a recipe into actionable steps. And that's the whole point. It's like the algorithm wants people to take actions in real life. Like, that's what they're optimizing for, not for the time you spend on Pinterest. So if you create content that someone can follow and make a recipe at home, that's a big thing. Is it necessary to have a website in order to get started? No, not really, because it's all about, content within Pinterest that you're making with videos and idea pins. So definitely not necessary. It's just that most people had it. So that's why I touched upon verifying domain. But if you don't have it, then you don't even need it.
And then Mohak, I had a clarifying question. I thought at one point you said we should use our Instagram stories to pin on Pinterest. Should we, okay, this might be a very beginner question, but should we be using that instead of our posts from Instagram?
You can use both. What I was saying was that a lot of times people create high quality content for their Instagram stories, but that just goes away in 24 hours, right? But this is still like really good content that you may have saved on your camera roll. So you could just use those like pictures or videos, if they're aesthetically and pleasing and inspirational, as part of your story pins, or sorry, idea pins. How many pages? 6 to 8 is, I think, again, what works for you and what works. If you're explaining a complex recipe, then 10 is a better number. If you're just trying to like talk about a small city or an attraction, then maybe 5. But I would say more than 4, but also not too long. If it's 20 pages, maybe people will not follow.
Okay, so I know someone kind of asked about this before and you gave a good link for the Pinterest 101 classes, but maybe you could give us like the top 5 or 7 first steps you would do if you literally have never been on Pinterest before, and how you would go about.
So we can just do it right now. I'm going to share my screen and then we can try to do it. And I don't know if this will work, but like first thing is go on Pinterest.com and click on business. And then sign up. And I'm going to put like random email, random at Nomadic Matt. I hope Matt doesn't hate me. And then some random password. Profile name, business or brand name. So this is your creator name. So I can just say like, hello world. You have a website. Let's say yes. Your photo here, region. Focus of your brand. So travel. Or what do you want to do? Grow brand awareness, create content. So we want to do this. I'm not sure. I'm a blogger. I'm a creator. I am retailer. So I would say blogger. Are you interested in advertising? So just say no. I'm going to say no, but you can say it. Where would you like to start? So showcase your brand, grow your audience measure. So I would say showcase your brand and make your profile first. So like add your pronouns. I am a creator. Have an email address for your users so they can always reach you. If you have an address line, you can claim things here, claim your website, Instagram, go here. And then first thing you want to do is create idea pin and create new. And they already give you examples and you can drag and upload images, and I don't have any, but, and then once you create, then that's like it. You can also just, if you don't have idea pins, you can also just create existing pins, just create pin. They'll teach you, like you can edit, crop, collage, and add your title. So I'm going to say, hello, you can put your URL. I'm just putting random stuff, by the way, but this is a pin, and publish. And then when you publish, it's going to ask you, someone asked about a board. So you can just create a board, be like random and create, and boom, that's your first pin.
Perfect. That was so helpful. And then I'm curious, I see a lot of, bloggers who have their websites and then they have the pin on the website. So is there a certain way you do that from Pinterest that just links to your website?
Oh, so that on their website, they have that hovering over P. I think there are several WordPress. Oh, sorry, go on.
No, it actually will show the Pinterest pin and it'll say like travel to Malta or something. And then you can click on it and it looks like it'll take you to Pinterest, but that actual pin.
I think that is just if you embed your Pinterest pin and have some WordPress widget, it works, but I'm not sure about that.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Do you have any tips on developing your Pinterest boards? I think the only tip is that make your content like organize it properly. So if you're like, rather than having one board with blogs and then having all your content there, it should be better and more organized, because everything that you're doing on Pinterest is giving the system a signal. So if you organize your content and like put content around Greece in one board and content around on Australia in the other, then it tells the algorithm that, okay, this person who's interested in Australia should be shown this content. So it just helps with engagement because it's going to show more personalized content to people. What happened to the boards that were there in the past? So the boards still do exist, right? Boards still, like at the end of the day, you have to put pins in a board and organize them, but I didn't touch about them too much because it's easy. It's like once you've done the hard part of creating content, creating a board, as I just created one, was just putting like, naming your board or selecting a board. What dimensions letter 8 by 10? Good question. I don't know, but you can like the links that I sent, plus you can also just Google Pinterest pin dimensions and it'll show you what are the dimensions.
Great questions, everyone. We are just at about the hour. So if you have any more questions, I know Mohak has a few more minutes, so definitely write them down real quick. Mohak, you've been amazing. You have answered them all. I know we are all kind of at different levels, so it's been amazing to learn from you and have the live examples too, which has been super helpful. So if anyone has any more, just jot them down, but I think we covered all of them, I'm pretty sure. Let's see, Caroline.
Oh, yeah. Canva has Pinterest templates. Really good point.
And then Mohak, can you just address again about the Tailwind Social Bee using the programs like that through Pinterest?
I think you can use it, especially if you're managing multiple social media. It just helps with distributing them at once across everything, but it is not a substitute to spending that time and investing that time in building high quality, unique content for your users. At the end of the day, you have a different audience on every platform. Like Instagram is more younger people, more adventurous. Pinterest is on like a lot of families in middle of America, looking to get inspired and don't like spending a lot of time just like trying to like, they'll be inspired and they'll take action too. So that's why I always recommend, there's no secret that you can create one content and it would work on everything consistently, but know your audience and, Pinterest is all about inspiration and action. So focus on that. the good thing is there's a lot of overlap between Pinterest and Instagram. So, you can reuse a lot of the content.
Perfect. And then maybe you can address Rory's question about using vertical videos. Is there a difference on what you should be using for Pinterest?
No, it's actually on point because vertical videos helps with bigger views, autoplay. Plus, also like you're on a grid, right? And most people are using it on their iPhones. So vertical videos is just a more aesthetic experience. At the end of the day, after you create every content or before you create, you should ask yourself, is it the best possible content on this topic that a user can get or someone can get if you're creating a content on like visiting Greece? And if it is, then it will do well. So like if you do good by your users, the system will do good by you.
Perfect. This has been so inspirational and helpful. I don't know about everyone else, but I've always been very nervous and scared to use Pinterest, but just having you walk us through the steps makes it a little bit easier now to move forward with. So I really appreciate you coming on and sharing all of your tips with us. And I have dropped your information in the chat. So to everyone on the call, feel free to reach out to Mohak if you have any further questions, of course, because I know it's a challenging subject. And thank you, Mohak. Do you have anything else to share before I go ahead and just close out our call?
No, yeah, just reach out if you need like help with Pinterest, or if you have blogs and like, want to embed maps and all those things, just reach out to that form and more than happy to help you.
Perfect. You are the expert for sure. Now I am going, it's not letting me share. So you guys get the very condensed version because I'm not able to share my screen. But basically we have so many events coming up with the Nomadic Network. So you can always head on over to the nomadicnetwork.com/events. We've listed everything out there for the next couple months. On Thursday, we have how to take a career break and travel the world. Next week, we have 2 events on travel hacking. One has to do with points and one has to do with budget travel hacking. So check those out. So those are kind of the travel presentation style events we have. Then we have regional happy hours. We have one in Texas next week. The other ones we've kind of put on hold for a little bit. I know we are hoping to maybe get some in person soon. We'll see, but keep a lookout for those. And then we have our monthly book clubs. So on August 4th, I believe it's always the first Wednesday of the month, we have Scott with Scott Cheap Flights coming to chat with us about his book. So that I'm sure a lot of you know about his website. So definitely join us for that. And then, as I mentioned, we have the Nomadic Nat Plus community membership program. So if you want more information on that, you can just go to Nomadic Nat's website. There's a little area there to click on for more information. You'll get replays of all these events and this one today as well. And then it's just a great way for just a couple dollars a month just to get up-to-date info from Nat. He shares stories he hasn't ever shared before. There's an exclusive Facebook group. So tons of other fun perks. That is it. I think I've memorized it all. Happy to have you all here today. Thank you so much for coming and for all of your great questions. This has been amazing, and Mohak for answering them all in such detail. It's been really informative and inspiring. So thank you all, and I hope to see you all at another event real soon. And all of you on Pinterest, we all have to go do this now.
Thank you so much. Pleasure.
And just you